round number 7 is here. We have another Kinemon mirror. We're going to be looking.
8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, we're on round 8.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading it wrong. We are on round number 8. This is possibly the last round of the day, depending on how the pair down goes. But we are watching table 1, the 2 undefeated 7-0 Kinemon players, and we're going to see where this takes us. So, they have rolled, I do believe, player on the right won the dice roll. I think we're going to see he's still shuffling. He's going to do his mulligan on the left. But yeah, we're going to get into it quite shortly.
And just to give you a quick update, so we have one other undefeated player battling out on table 2. Now, those 2 decks on table 2 is a Zoro mirror.
Wow. So kind of what I was mentioning as well. It was going to be 2 Kinemon
we could
and 2 Zoro.
See the Kinemon Zoro final that we've been asking for.
Yeah, which is going to be great. Oh, now the other player's just changing some settings. Oh, the judges jumped out as well. Okay.
Yeah, so for something, taking it back a fair few rounds ago, Emmett and I both discussed what deck we thought would take the event down. My pick for it was Kinemon, and Emmett, your pick was Zoro. So
yeah,
our dream could come true. We could finally put the money on the table and see who walks away with it.
I think it's gonna. I would love to see that. I don't really want to see a mirror for the final match. We're obviously going to be able to see what does take it out, and fingers crossed so far. We've only had one disconnection for the past 5 or so minutes that we've been in here, so hoping that kind of continues to go through. It's definitely better than the other game that we had where it kind of cut out every 20-30 seconds. But we can't really control everyone else's internet. And it does look like the player on the right is going to go first. So, starting off straight away, 1 cost, playing a beige, and then passing his turn there.
Do we see the optimal turn 1 play? Okiku.
I'm watching his hand, seeing if he's going to tap 2.
He's got him aside. You'd think you'd slam it down pretty quickly if you had it.
Yeah, look, it's not like a questionable... I mean, unless he's going to play Yamato next turn and then kind of like tap it and then swing into it. But...
Just
wow.
Passing. Nothing to play.
Wow. Not even a 1 cost.
Yeah. And I don't remember. Do you recall if he mulliganed?
Player on the left mulligan, yes.
Okay. So it's possible he's just drawn into some dead cards.
Player on the right did choose not to mulligan and just went straight with it, so...
Just making sure that everything is visible to one another, it seems.
I mean, it is very, like, tight spaced. I don't know if that's really optimal enough for, like, the area of play.
But we're just... We'll disconnect and rejoin.
Yeah, but he seems to be...
Oh, okay. So we've got an attack on lead, and then keeping up the 2 for the Punk Gibson to rest the blockers. Perhaps there was another play available, and they just chose not to utilize it.
And there's the Yamato,
Yeah, let this Yamato come down, prevent it from resting our Akiku, and maybe our plays is just too big brain for you and I.
I mean, we've seen green matchups multiple times control the board with blockers and being able to kind of, get to the point where you need to go to by, like, using the blockers at the precise time. Obviously, green does have a lot of ways to rest things, and then you'll be able to swing into them anyway. But yeah, we're going to see the leader swing into the beige, get rid of that early on. Knowing that the Yamato probably was going to come turn 2 from the player on the right, and then opting maybe, if he did have Okiku, not to play it. It just seems like a very, wow, okay, never mind. I mean, there's a reason why he's here at the top tables going 7-0, right? I'm not going to take anything away from him. We watched their previous game on our last on the last round. Knows what he's doing. But... I can.
Advantage is starting
come on.
to slip away here.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like there's no way you don't have anything to play with 4.
Mm.
I refuse to believe it. It's another Momo.
But just puts a limit on the amount of attacks that you're going to have the following turn. If you set up multiple Momo here, one of them's going to stick around unless you have some kind of KO effect, and that's just an additional draw that's going to come the following turn.
Yep. The longer, and we've seen this, the longer Momo stays on the field, the harder it is to justify getting rid of it, right?
Yeah, and the more advantage you just gain.
Absolutely. Scratch my Apu to give that 2k combo.
Yep.
Getting out of that leader swing and another Momo, and then he's going to be able to tap
yeah.
it and then just get another one in.
Just continue to build that hand size and gain the advantage.
Oh, there.
Controlling the board.
Yep. Finds the SR.
Yep, we've got the alternate Art Odin. And we have to see something come down. We've got 6 Don available.
What do you put down here when you've got 6, though? Like, is it too late for Okiku? Is it like you don't really want to play the Yamato now because you're not really resting anything to worry about it?
I could see an AK or a reasonable swing into the Yamato and then an Okiku coming down. Okay, we're going to see a 9k swing.
I am not sure what is going on, but if this man wins, I will never question anyone ever again. Like, this is either the biggest brain thing I have ever seen, or the man is just bricked hard.
Guarantee that kill.
Yeah,
and then a 2 Don for an Okiku is still a reasonable play, or even a
Raizo.
Raizo.
Yeah.
If you can back that up with a Momo the following turn, it still gets your draw engine online.
Mm.
So it makes sense to put the 4 Don underneath the leader to swing into the Yamato, as opposed to just putting 2 or 3. If you've got no use for the other Don, you might as well guarantee the kill. And now, if they want to rest these Momo, even if you're not getting the full value out of the Raizo, you still have a 4k attacker that can swing into them and get them off the field. Raizo is still something that needs to be answered, and player on the right is not necessarily leaning into that control of not giving your opponent cards. They're happy to fill up their hand, and we could see that backfire against them later on in the game if they've got this well-established hand.
And that's going to hurt. Yeah, that is now going to hurt. You didn't do enough damage to really worry about, like, to not worry about the kid dropping down. Player on the right still has 5 life. And now he has the 7-cost kid. Yeah, and he has a 7-cost kid. Player on the left hasn't really set up well enough. Obviously not opting to do the Momo draw too, because the kid is just so much more important. And it's just like, what do you really do here? I mean, he's swinging with 5. I mean, you could always freely just block this with kid. I don't think you're really worried about... Oh, he's just not worried about anything at all. Yeah, he's just taking it. Yeah.
That life. You know that there's only one more attack coming down with the Raizo at best.
Yeah.
And if he chooses to attack with that Raizo, then that's a free block. So there's no point putting it in rest mode. We'll just simply pass. And from here, player on the right can just start gaining that advantage with the Momo and get a free AK swing with their kid each turn and control the field outside of their 7-drop kid until our opponent's life is low enough that they're forced into a block. An 8-drop Odin right now would just be devastating.
I mean, we did see it. We did see him draw it off the Momo. So it's, you know, he's in a spot. Yeah, he's in a spot where, like, he could literally play the 8-cost...
Odin?
The 8-cost Odin, and then also the 1-cost beige that he just pulled from top.
Yeah, or even a swing with the 7-drop kid at an 8k.
True.
That'll restand.
Also true. Absolutely true. And, you know, when you're swinging with the kid for 8k and your opponent has the kid on field, like
2k counter.
Yeah, he's
attack.
He's not feeling this game at all.
No, this has been some bad draws, hasn't it? And we see the 1-drop with the 1 Don go under the kid. This is going to be very difficult to get out of, and it's going to put our opponent down onto 2 life if they take this damage.
Blocking 2k? Yeah, he has to. He has to.
Yeah, makes sense. But we've seen a fair few 2ks getting pulled out of hand right now.
Oh, you're happy. You're playing on the right, you're happy. You tap the 8 now, you play the Odin, you just pass.
Yeah.
restand your kid, and it's like you're on a timer now if you're player on the left.
A minimum of 3 AK attacks the
Yep.
following turn.
Yep. Oh man. And like we know green now, we know like the availability of like what the cards can do, and I don't really think there's a way out of this board state now as green, right? Like
It'd be very difficult. You'd need to establish multiple blockers, and probably even sitting behind an 8-drop kid still isn't going to be enough when you have an Odin that can just push so much damage in, and it has the ability to restand. It's very difficult for player on the left to start really gaining control and have enough done available to protect themselves from what's on the field.
yeah, this is
We see the 1 Don under the Rhizo to draw the additional card.
yeah.
This could potentially be a free block on the 7-drop. But chances are we may just see a counter out here while we can. There's no point. Okay, we're going to utilize the block.
There is a point.
Yep.
It's
and now if our opponent wants to even attempt to remove this 7-drop, they've got to put a minimum of 2 Don underneath their leader.
And they're not going to. Yeah, he's just going to swing.
Yeah, they don't want to. And now you can just counter out.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like now he's got, no blocker on the field. He's going to be able to get a 1K out. And you don't even need Jewelry Bonnie at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The most easiest 1K decision you've ever made. And another 7-cost kid. Okay. I mean, when Odin's swinging at you for AK twice... I don't think
it's just going to slowly
yeah.
dwindle that hand, or you're forced to take that damage. I do think we'll see something try and remove this Rhizo, just to prevent more additional cards being added to hand. I think that would potentially be the right play, but at this point, now we can start utilizing our Momo. Add those 2 cards every turn, and if our opponent doesn't deal with it, our hand size is just going to blow out. We're going to have enough counter and cards to protect our pieces. And looks like each swing here is going to be at a minimum of 7k, so that if our opponent does want to block, we're getting at least 1 card out of hand. But we're going to be pushing straight into the face, it seems.
Yeah.
Nope.
Man.
Yeah, we're going to remove the Momo. The Rhizo.
Very interesting.
So much Don to work with.
Yeah, you're
so
not
much potential attackers as well.
Yeah, you're not phased, are you?
No. 7-cost blockers is really good against some of those loaded the ground kind of decks like Zoro, where you're getting the value of the block for free. But when your opponent's attacking with multiple AKs and above, it's just you're not getting as much value out of it, are you?
No. And he's going to swing with 8 now, and it's like, I would actually assume that you take both of these swings.
You're really setting yourself up for a really troublesome following turn, but I don't think you have much option. You
don't.
can't afford to lose the 7-drop kids, and you just don't have the counter power to get out of AK at this point.
You don't. And there you go. He's going to use the 8K now. Like, you might block one of these and then go a 2K if you still have it. But then he's going to tap 3 to put Odin back in, and wow, he's just, he knows that there he's like
potentially see an untap on the Odin, and
gonna pass,
leaving it inactive mode.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of Momo searches, and maybe establish another blocker, or a 2 blockers.
He does have a beige. Yeah, he does have a beige in hand, so he may actually. He's going to untap that.
Yep.
We're expecting that. So you reckon he might just go maybe 1 or 2 Momos and then a blocker on the field as well?
Yep. And we'll leave that Odin in active mode and not give our opponent the opportunity to attack into it, because that is going to be what we use to continue to put pressure. But perhaps not. We're going to attack for 10k.
Bringing your opponent down. Look, getting rid of 1 kid or leaving your opponent on 0, you're almost guaranteeing that on your next turn, you're going for game.
Yep.
You know, you've got your leader swing, you've got the kid 7 cost, you've got the Odin that's going to swing twice, 4 swings to do 1 lethal damage, and even if your opponent still has those 2 kids on field, unless he plays like 2 or 3 beige right now, I don't even know if that's still going to be enough either.
Yeah, and we see the 2 Don active, so representing a Punk Gibson or a two Paradise Waterfall that can restand the Odin anyway. But yeah, look, our opponent just doesn't have that much that can really
Nah.
answer what's coming the following turn.
I wouldn't say he wasted his first few turns, but it kind of does like end up feeling like that, right? He had 2 turns where he played absolutely nothing, and you know he didn't have anything in his hand, so not much you could really do with that. But when you're giving your opponent 2 free turns to kind of play their game,
board, yeah.
and green sets up their board so well with all those like low cost cards, you know. We're talking about searchers, we're talking about small blockers, we're talking about, you know, even Yamato at 4.
And just trying to figure out how do they navigate themselves through this turn to not lose in the following. Still up in the search. Jewelry Bonnie, we've got a fair few supernovas within the deck. Not the greatest of searches, but finding the beige, which can be very helpful, but we haven't seen many rest down effects from either player at the moment. So Neko, Izo, Yamato still running around, still available to rest those cheap blockers and prevent them from really getting any value.
Yeah, and he's not able to really find anything from these like draws and this life that he's taken, and like it really looks like he's just like trying to find anything, trying to get out of
looking
this.
for answers. Yeah, just looking for any kind of answer, isn't it?
Mm,
It's very difficult. It is. You know, you're staring down that Odin that can very easily just obliterate your hand the following turn, or
yeah.
represent just something that can KO these 2 blockers. And if these 2 kids go down, there's just no way that you're going to be able to come back from the hand size that the other player has and the field that they've got. We see an 8K swing.
Yeah. What do you do here? Like it is such a feels bad moment where it's like
You can't commit too much
no,
Don into
no.
trying to remove this Odin, because there's 2 Don active and you've still got a blocker available. But we're swinging into life.
Yeah.
Another 8K, assumably into life again.
I would assume
Just
so because you
yeah,
know
just
that
trying to
you're
find any way.
yeah, but what do you do now? Like, you know, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 Don available. You're going to untap your 2 blockers. You know, even if player on the right does take this.
We could see a situation where they just set up another 2 blockers, potentially 3, to replace the Bonnie, and try and just survive through the next turn. If I can put you down to 1 life using my leader and these kid, then the following turn you
Possibly go for
need to
game, but
start wasting your cards and your blockers. You've only got one blocker available. If you don't set up any more and utilize all your Don to try and close out the game, then I might be able to beat you on the clapback. Both players still have healthy hands.
yeah, absolutely. Like it's about 7 or 8 cards in the player on the right hand.
Yeah,
In a
neither one of
block,
them.
just combo with one of them. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Okay.
Yep, and we could see a beige and some form of killer getting played down, or multiple beige.
2 beige maybe.
Yep, and
Yeah.
those 2 blockers will
4
restand.
blockers.
Yep,
For their next turn.
2 Don active represents the Punk Gibson. And you know, we've got 4 decent sized attacks coming in from the player on the right side, and 4 blockers available. So If you want to spend Don to try and rest some of these blockers, well, then that's less Don that you're going to be putting in to try and close out the game.
It really does come down to it now because, I mean, the player on the left does have about 6-7 cards in his hand. If he plays anything that's able to rest one of those beige blockers, he could still go for game here.
It is possible.
Playing green, we know that it does definitely rest. He might even...
You're spending a minimum of 2 for a Neko.
Yeah.
And upwards from there for some of your other
cards. Yeah, of course. Yamato's 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that too, but, almost all your damage is kind of like becoming lethal once you do rest one of those blockers. And he has to start using those blockers to kind of get rid of it. And then the last swing will be the one that kind of like you can almost attach all your Don on it if you have the resources. So,
but if you say lose 2 for a Neko, you need to restand the Odin to get through the amount of blockers that are available. So that's 3. It leaves you with 5 Don available to spread across. It just might not be a lot. We see a block and then an Ezo.
Knows that he has to keep those 7 cost kids alive, otherwise
5k swing. This could be a little bit dangerous if we see a 7k block followed by a Paradise Waterfall.
I would expect
or
a
even
1k combo
in rest. Yeah, potentially.
I would assume it. I mean,
you don't want to get into a situation where you get a free 7k block, Odin swings, you block with a beige, and then get a Paradise Waterfall to restand the 7-drop.
He's thinking about it.
Utilizes the block.
But he doesn't really need to worry too much. Well, he still could, because he still could do the 2 for Nico, rest one of the blockers, go Odin, untap Odin again. And I think that's what he's trying to maybe figure out here, that if he does get one of his blockers rested, what happens?
Yeah, but he's kept those 2 Don active, presumably for a reason. Green does often run the Paradise Waterfall. It does run the Punk Gibson, which is an additional 4k. If you're going to go a 2 Don for a Neko, followed by the 3 Don to restand an Odin, that means that you can get up to a 13k Odin swing with the 5 additional Don. That's only 5k required for Kinemon to get out of the attack alongside of a Punk Gibson.
Let's see what he decides to do now.
Counting the Don. And we've seen those 2 Momos sit on the board and not get utilized once since they were initially played.
Just 1 here. Interesting.
A 9k swing. Perhaps trying to bait out the Punk Gibson. Very difficult here to maneuver. You don't want to utilize your block here and then get punished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to see the tattoo.
Oh,
essentially revealing that we've got the Punk Gibson.
I mean,
we're fair to assume leaving the 2 Don active. Oh, yep, and there's the additional 1k.
Yeah.
So we can rest a Momo here. Yep, getting the full value.
And that's the question now. Like, what do you do here? Like, your player on the right, you've got 3. Yep, yeah, he's gonna do it. He's happy to untap the Odin leader. He's got 4 left or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be 5.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I can see 5 now. Yeah,
we've seen the player on the right still kind of playing reserved, really not wanting to commit too much Don with the amount of blockers available. You don't want to get into a position where all 4 blockers survive this turn.
Oh, definitely not.
Be, pretty punishing, and it would allow the player on the left to be able to get through this turn and potentially the following turn without any issue. One blocker's going to go down.
Has to.
Yeah, if we've got another blocker and we've got a Bonnie search the following turn, which can allow us to find things like the killer or even another beige. It's not impossible for player on the left to start gaining the control again. Sitting behind these 7-drop kids.
Oh, it just grabs a 2 cost.
Yeah, the Ezo.
Yeah. And just like kind of like setting himself up for the next turn,
Mm. Yeah.
knowing that he can't win here. Tapping one, he's going to play a Toki.
Yep. So their own blocker. It gains blocker if an Odin is on the field.
And now
And
just,
passing
yeah,
there.
yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting turn.
Yeah, leaving the 2 Don open, more than likely representing a Punk Gibson, which can deal with a beige blocker. And yeah, just set ourselves up for the next turn. Continue to dwindle down our opponent's resources until we're in a position where we guarantee the kill, rather than try and put all of our Don under one card and just pray that they don't have enough counter. We're going to continue to grind this game out and secure the win.
What do you do here? Do you try to get rid of the Odin? Do you try to swing with obviously both kids, put a Don underneath and go 8k at Odin twice?
Mm.
He's just going to go, surely, yeah, he's thinking about, and this is like when you do like a stock standard turn, right? The first thing that Kinemon players virtually do is like, all right, swing with lead, 5k.
It's almost just like a little check, How are you going to navigate this first attack?
What?
Okay, opting to clear the Momo. Yeah, we're going to prevent you from gaining any value. So we could see a bit of a board clear up, and if we can establish multiple blockers, then we can live through another turn.
Wow.
And
yeah, it all really does depend on what the player on the left does have in his hand now, right? Like if he's going for the Momo play to like clear board, what does he have that he's going to play?
We see one committed to the 7-drop kid, and followed by a Punk Gibson, which will deal with the beige blocker. Which is devastating. That is one less block that you have the following turn.
Yeah. And he didn't look like he was trying to go for game on this turn either. So, like, if you were going for game and then your beige gets rested, you're like, okay, whatever. Oh, he's tapping 8.
ACOS kid.
Oh, wee.
Yep. Is that a disconnect from one of the players?
No.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Just froze there. So we see the ACOS kid put in rest mode, playing the Okiku over the Bonnie, and 2 blockers still available, and
chose not to swing. Did he swing with the kid when he put the Don underneath?
I don't believe that he did. No.
Very interesting that he opted not to swing on that then, because that was a free untap at the end of the turn anyway.
Leader swung into the Momo, and then I believe the 7-drop swung, and that was what was dealt with there.
Yeah, okay.
Gibson. Yeah. Yeah, but you just don't have the blockers or the hand size available to protect this 8-drop kid. Is it enough to really get you through the next couple of turns? You've got 2 blockers available, and we've got a minimum again of 3 8k attacks coming into this 8-drop kid.
Yeah.
If you're going to start blocking with these 7-drops, you're more than likely going to lose them.
Yeah.
And as soon as 8-drop kid goes down, everything again starts going towards life.
And here we go, 12k coming in, going into the kid.
You're either going to lose the kid or lose a 7-drop blocker.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
there's one gone.
Committing to losing a 7-drop kid. Yeah, we can just restand Odin and do it again.
Yep.
I may not kill you on this turn, but I'm going to leave you with so few resources that it's impossible for you to come back.
Top 3, restand it, another 12 at the kid, yeah. And then he's going to see what happens with the response here. So I don't think he has enough cards in his hand to actually get through the damage without blocking it.
Yeah, and the other 7-drop kid goes down.
Yeah.
I dare say we'll see a 8-9k swing with the 7-drop kid.
Well, that's the thing. You pretty much have to put one underneath, and it's going to be 8k at least.
Yep.
I mean, he might just do that just to get one card out of his hand. He's got no other blockers that he can put on. If he wants to keep, no, he's going to go for the 3 play.
Yep. 10k into the kid. You've shown that you can't get to 12. Let's see if you can get to 10.
Oh, wow.
You can't. And from here, you yeah, you're in a very
Yeah.
difficult time where 7-drop kid will restand. It represents an almost free block unless you're putting multiple Don down, and with only 2 potential attackers to even attempt to deal damage, you're gonna have a hard time closing out the game when I've got 2 life still.
I'm kind of surprised that player on the right swung leader into the rested beige instead of trying to go for game and getting rid of a card from hand.
You'd rather get rid of the blocker and win next turn than just get a 1k counter out of hand.
Mm.
The chances of you winning off a 5k swing is far less likely than
Yeah.
you just remove the blocker, get the value, and then the next turn that 8k swing can swing freely. And yeah, I dare say that this is a point of no return.
Yeah. What do you really do here?
Once the Odin came down and was able to sit comfortably behind the 7-drop kid,
Yeah.
it was just too much value.
Yeah,
and
there
they
you go.
conceded.
Yeah.
There's just no way for them to really get out. Had we have seen that Basil Hawkins come down early enough, it probably could have been enough to really put some pressure onto the field and get some value. But yeah, it just wasn't enough to mitigate.
Yeah, and look at that hand, right? He had 5 cards there that actually doesn't have any combo power. So
Yeah,
if
so
he
the
just
extra
swung,
has
if he
1k.
just swung with the lead, like I mentioned, he would have actually been able to take away the game and finish that off. So that's, again, like you mentioned in one of the previous games, Ryan, Green doesn't have a lot of ways to really deal with all that kind of stuff. As in, like, it doesn't have many 1Ks, it doesn't have anything that you can kind of really do. But yeah, that's all. That's all it's done right there. So we are going into, and it looks like, guys, the pair down did not win. And we are going into...
We're seeing a Zoro Kinemon final.
Yeah, we are going into that final game. We are going to find out which is the stronger deck at the moment, Zoro versus Kinemon. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting here. That's going to be a spicy meatball if I've ever seen it, because that's the 2 leaders that we both thought that were going to be strong enough to take out this tournament, and we're going to finally get that. We're going to finally get that. We did mention that this was going to go to time, and it has gone to time. We are literally in the last 5 minutes of overtime, and then we should be getting into the final round, guys. So we are looking pretty spicy here. We might go on a quick 2-minute break. We'll just refresh, get ourselves back to doing a quick deck check. By the time they do the results and their report, so on and so forth, we will probably be ready to go. So give us about 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Don't go too far away. We'll be back with the
9th round.
Ninth
and final round.
9th and final round, guys. We'll see you guys soon.